Sheikh, there was a post for the anniversary of Sheikh Nazim, and and the post was talking about the visit of Sheikh Nazim to Egypt, and then he met someone in Egypt, and they were asking him why he was visiting Egypt, and he told them that Egypt has thousands of Azhar scholars. But from what I'm seeing, I mean, the people from the Azhar, they are talking, they're trying to give advice to people, but nobody's really interested, or nobody's listening to them. They're talking, but nobody's interested. So is the problem from them, or is the problem from the people?
Prophets talk too, yes? And the Ummah don't listen also. Correct? So many times it is, of course, if there is disobedience, it is the fault of the people not listening. I'm not saying it's the fault of the prophets, but there were certain prophets, Quran is telling us, that they are getting very very upset, that they say, no more talking. Bring them azab, Ya Rabbi. Punish them. Or, no more talking. I'm going to turn around and I'm going to bring myself somewhere. Do you understand? So it is not as simple as whose fault is it. The point of that post there, number one, we have to understand, the point of that post is not to question whether scholars' fault or people's fault. I don't know how many of you read that post? Put up your hand. Majority of you not understanding. You're not reading, so where can we go? This is a very well-known riwayat coming from Sultan al-Awliya. This is not a post, it is a riwayat. It's something that happened to him that he related 10 years, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. That he was there in Cairo, Egypt. Let me simplify it. Shaykh Maulana dressing up as a sheikh, wearing the turban, the jubbah, and the cane, which even in that particular sunnat, you don't see too many people carrying that time or now, in that way, correct? And that time and now, they look at it like some alien, although it is completely sunnat, alien, because they're used to a particular kind. Whether it's Egypt, or England, or Malaysia, or Africa, they're used to a particular kind. There is no more something that is universal from an ummati kind. So this way, turban and everything, Ottoman way, is an ummat kind. When you see that, the way that the Ottomans were wearing, for instance, the whole ummats now practice it, and they see it, and it becomes lazim, it becomes normalized. Whether it is a turban, the style of carrying the cane, the jubbah, is not particular. This is, everyone is understanding that this is acceptable also. Although they have their own differences, but this is also acceptable. So you see pictures in the old days, everyone from different nationalities, they also understand that there is a certain way of looking. Looking means behaving. Behaving means adab. Adab means religion and spirituality that the whole ummah also understand and recognize, and they hold on to. They are not split up. And that is coming from the Ottomans, because they made it something that is entering into every country, every household. That is lost, it's broken up. So now, looking at Shaykh Maulana as someone who is ajaib, strange. Looking at us, strange. Are you Muslim? They even ask. So right off there, it's the intelligent mind is going to say, then the place where the, let's say, the preserver of the Ahl Sunnat way of scholastic way, it has changed. Now, it has changed. That they can look at Shaykh Maulana in his full haybat of prophets and they say, this is really strange. It's cut off now. Although they have that knowledge, but there is no connection to reality and history. And when Shaykh Maulana was there and the man was asking, where are you from, Shaykh? Or who are you? There is also that understanding at that time, looking at a person, and Shaykh Maulana does not look like an Arab. He looks like an Ajam. And especially at that time there is a strong position. Every country is distinct in their own nationality. As it is now. Unless you're an Arab, then you don't have real access to Quran, real access to Hadith. So now you understand, again, the division, the fitna that's happening in the Ummah, and it's entering even with people who are supposed to be the unifiers of the whole Ummah, that they have the knowledge. And in that story, in that riwayat, or as you say, in that post, it is also there, the meaning there when the man is asking, it's also the man saying, oh, you're a Shaykh? Well, you know, we don't really need you here. You're Turkish, you're not Arab, you dress strangely. You're not needed here because here we have thousands of alims and ulamas. We don't need you, the likes of you. Same way, Shaykh Effendi, us, we went to different places sometimes and they look at you, are outsider. Let's be real also. There are many places they went to, they welcome, they understand. They look, when they look past this, they say we are the same and they welcome. Whether they're Muslims or they're non-Muslims. But then, those ones who are doing that, they recognize from the heart. And their hearts are clean. Those whose hearts are dirty, then they are not going to get past this. The surface differences. They're going to say, oh, okay, well, your Arabic is not good enough. Well, you're not an Azhari. Well, you're not an Arab. Well, you're not this, you're not that. They look at the differences and they do not welcome. That's okay. But those who are looking with their heart, they look past everything and they try to, and they understand the words are coming from the hearts of our Shaykh, from the hearts of our Grand Shaykh. Then they say, the heart and the heart, we are connecting. And it doesn't matter what you are. You're black, you're yellow, you're brown, it doesn't matter because the hearts now is connecting. Those Zahiri kind of people, that including so many people with knowledge or without knowledge, scholars or not, then they're going to concentrate only on that. And in that riwayat saying, Shaykh, you don't need to be here. We have so many shaykhs, not necessary for you. You don't belong here. And Shaykh Maulana then turned it to make us to understand that if a city has 1,000 doctors and the city is still filled with people who have diseases, the city is still sick, filled with sick people, but you have 1,000 doctors, then there's something very, very, very wrong in the system. Either the doctors, they are completely ineffectual, they have no effect at all, or they're corrupt. Doctors are part of the, as it is in so many modern countries, the doctors are also part of the pharmaceutical industry. And the pharmaceutical industry is not really interested in making people better, they're interested in selling their medicines. And you can only sell your medicines if people are sick. So it is in your interest to make sure people are sick. So Sheikh Maulana was then making the point that if the whole city is sick and you have 1,000 doctors, then there is something really wrong with everything. And he's making a direct criticism, critique of what is happening there. But if the city and people there are good and they're clean, they may not have too much knowledge, but they're good and they're clean, they're not corrupt. And you have only a few scholars here and there. A city that has healthy people, but it cannot boast to have 100 doctors. That city is actually a very advanced city, more advanced than a city that has 100 doctors, but everyone is sick. Okay? So, whose fault is it? It's always the fault of the head. Isn't it? It's always the fault of the head. It's always let's change the word fault to responsibility. It is always the responsibility of the head to make sure that the whole body now listens. It's always the responsibility of the rulers to make sure that everyone else is now going to listen. Because the head is the one who is going to rule, not the feet. It is the function of the feet to listen to the head. And if people are not listening to the head, something has been cut off a long time ago, especially in a holy city. Something wrong happened, that there was a cut off between the head and, let's say, the body. That's why the body cannot listen to the head, and the head cannot make the body to listen. There is already a divide. Until you find out what it is that made it happen, what is this break? And you find out then who made this, how it happened, and who are the people now that continues to have this head, this divide, this division, you'll not come up to any answer unless you understand what is that. That is history. Naqshbandi way is concentrating because it is the head of all tariqats. Naqshbandi way is the head of all tariqats. It is concentrating on the head. And in some ways, people are saying, oh, it's so basic. You're not talking about ilm, you're not talking about mysticism, you're not talking about so high-level things. You're only talking about how to control your ego. You're talking about very easy foundational things. Those ones who say that it's easy, that it's just simple, they're completely jahil. Completely jahil. Because it is the ego that controls mankind, that can even use the ilm, that unless you put the ego under control, the ego now will use you and will demand that you worship the ego. It is the greatest enemy. Leave shaitan aside. Shaitan is the advisor to our ego. So now the head. And we are, in this way, we're concentrating. The head has to move. When the head moves, the whole body will follow. The head is correct, everyone is correct. Let's say the head is a center. The center, like the heart is a center. You fix the heart, everything is going to be fixed. Why they are not listening to the heart? There was a time when there was a divide. There was a division that was made. So like this or like that, Naqshbandi way, you cannot run away from Khilafat, because our Pir was the first Khalifa too. And the whole the whole issue up till today for 1400 years is because of that Khilafat. And they say it was denied to Hazrat Ali and was given to Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq. The Khilafat, the seat of the Prophet ﷺ, to rule. So if you fix that, if you understand that, if you understand the problems of that, if you safeguard that, everything will be okay. Like this or like that, sometimes it may be weak, but at least the head is working. But if you remove the head, even if the rest of the body, they are very strong and developed and this and that, but you have no head. You have no identity. You have no knowledge, nothing. And you start now behaving in very different ways. So, we should try to understand this. And if you are not concentrating on this, you've lost the way, in our way anyway. So, we cannot talk about what is happening now and come up with an answer that is so simple. If only the people now listen to the alims, for example. If only the alims are going to say something. You cannot. Then you are in an echo chamber, because nothing that is happening to us now is because of what is happening to us now. It's because of something that happened to us yesterday, last year, last century, last 1,000 years. If it is only now, why Quran is quoting from the Day of Promises? Up till the last prophet, why the Quran is quoting history? If now is the only thing that is mattering to us. So what do we do in this situation, then you ask? There's corruption everywhere. Remove the corrupt people. Corruption is what is ruling. Take away their power. Take away the power of these corrupt people and give the power to good people. Give the power to people who can rule. Then that time, watch how everything will turn 1, 2, 3 quickly. Because it happened in the time of the Prophet ﷺ. 1, 2, 3 quickly. All the power that was from the Roman Empire to the Persian Empire, yes? There were centers of corruption too in every level, yes? Within a few years, I'm not talking about hundreds of years, within a few years, once they take over, they remove the head. The head changes, they change the whole system overnight. The spirit of the system, not the body of the system. The body of the system may be still there. You understand? The body is there, but you remove the head now. You put in good head. Now you start changing things. It starts working in the way of Allah now. Now the civilization that it brings from material civilization to intellectual, to spiritual civilization, now you start rising. So the corrupt, fasiq people, they have to be removed. But understand, all this removal of corruption, all the removal of corruption, it is not coming from an action. People are expecting an action that is coming from what? From the sky coming down? One big flash of lightning and everything is changing? No. The history is showing to us of mankind, this corruption is removed by people too. People put the corruption there, and people will remove the corruption there. People who are guided by the ego and shaitan will put corruption there. People who are guided by haqq and Allah will remove that. It is still mankind, it is still people, it is still insan. It is not one thunderbolt from the skies. It is not one big cracking of the the skies, something happens. No, it's not. People are expecting a miracle like that. It's never been like that. So now the question is, do people want to change? Then we come back to the hadith. your situation is not going to be changed unless you want it to be changed. That is happening in a global way, which so many don't want the situation to be changed now. Now, this situation, nobody wants. If they want to change it, they can change, because the power is also in their hands. They can get together and have summits after summits and say, we denounce this heavily, blah, 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 blah. They have the power to stop it, but they didn't. If they are saying we are going to stop it now, that means that they have the power to stop it yesterday and the day before. Even before it happened, they have the power to do it, but they choose not to. So they don't want to do it. So now they don't want the situation to change. From, let's say, a situation that is happening around the world, global thing, to something that is coming from personal. You don't want your situation to be changed. It's not going to change. Allah will not change your situation. Allah will not change your condition. Turn off those phones. One more time, I'm hearing, I'm going to throw it out from here. Your situation is not changing. Why is not changing? Did you do everything? You are in guidance in this way, and something must be happening that for it to continue like this. But mankind, they get very slick, and they are in denial. They say, oh, this must be some mystical thing. This must be some black magic. This must be some test that is coming to you. When the voice is saying, look at the Shariat. Don't jump into tariqat yet. Your way is not, you're not walking on the right way. This is what you're supposed to do. But we are saying to you, easy, these are the conditions. This is the Shariat, these are the conditions. But you want to play saint, you want to play mystic with me, and you want to go according to tariqat. Well, how's that working out for you? The way of guidance means we always need to be guided. You have your shahadat. Those ones who took their shahadat from the Prophet ﷺ, they still need to be guided. And if they refuse the guidance and they say, want to guide ourselves, this one we can figure it out by ourselves. Sometimes the ego says, oh, don't bother. Sometimes the ego says, what does he know? Sometimes the ego says, it's okay, it's a small matter. Whatever it is, games, because the Shariat is saying you must now be guided. Take guidance. But you say, I'm not going to, I'm going to figure it out by myself. Those who took the bayat and the shahadat from the Prophet themselves, from himself, ﷺ, they don't have that connection, they don't take that guidance, they veer off, they will leave Islam. Then who are we? To say that, no, we'll figure it out by ourselves. So, those who want to listen, they listen. And there is things take time. You don't listen, then it's for a long time, then it's inside now. The disease is there. You don't take care of your health. We say. You refuse to. Then you get the disease. But it took time. You had years to change. You don't want to. Then it's there. Oh, so one day you wake up and say, okay, I admit I'm wrong. And you complain then why you can't suddenly change like that? Why the situation has changed like that? Why? Because you turn around suddenly. You think you have to go back to the place where you started off. You got lost. You made a detour. You circled around the jungles. You didn't know it was the jungles. You insist it's not the jungles. And then one day you realize the veil is lifted. You're in the jungles now. Okay, I'm wrong. But you're lost. You're so far away. Because you realize, and you're so spoiled, you think, when I realize I should come back right from the point where I made that turn years ago? No. It'll take time. It'll take some time. How fast can it be? It depends on you. You walk, you walk. You run, you run. But we should not you or me, should expect just because we realize that everything now has to change suddenly for us like that. It doesn't work that way. So when are these corrupt people, brothers making a dua, bring down other zalim people? When the zalim people? We're asking Allah to bring them down. Yes, of course. But how Allah brings down the zalim people? Through a thunderbolt from the sky? No. It is through Ahlul Haq. And we're all candidates for that. It is still mankind. We cannot do anything that we must ask Allah for a sultan. How many do you think in this world right now, tonight, 2 billion Muslims are asking for a sultan? How many? Then those thousands of alims, their knowledge is zero. It is the fault of the head. The feet doesn't need to think. So many times they don't want to think. The body doesn't want to. The head must find a way to pull them. If the head itself is not thinking, then there is a problem. Remove that head. 2 billion Muslims, how many are asking for a sultan? How many are asking for a Khalifa? How many are asking for Mahdi alayhi salam? Very, very, very few. Now that's a problem. So nobody wants the condition to be changed. So the condition is not changing. Worse is going to happen. Sun rises, the Akhir Zaman. One of the signs of Akhir Zaman is the sun, Day of Judgment. The sun is going to rise from the west. People from the west are waking up. They're just waking up. They're waking up to the power of the shuhada, of the shahids. They're waking up to the power of Islam. They're waking up and they say there is something rotten in the system. And they want to change. So many of them, these young ones, they have nothing to gain by it. In fact, if they don't rise up, so much of this dunya will be given to them. But they refuse to. And they don't have Islam. But they understand what is haq and batil. And they say this system is completely batil. Inside of America, they're saying now the whole American system of democracy, hypocrisy. Republican, Democrat, hypocrites, all of them. You understand? As Shaykh Maulana said, Shafini said, for decades, democracy, hypocrisy, so many didn't believe. Muslims didn't believe. Believers didn't believe them. The words of awliya Allah. Regular people, what chance do they have? Nothing. And especially since 9/11, everyone is believing in the system even more. Yes? Axis of evil, us and them. Now, with what is happening, they say everything is finished. They say there's no us and them. Who are we? Who are they? Who are we? What is democracy? What is the system? This is all dajjalic. This is all wrong. Something very, very wrong. And they stand up and they fight. And they want this condition to change. Hundreds of Muslim governments make it illegal for anyone to even pray for that change to happen. So where is the sun rising and where is the sun setting? If the sun is representing Islam, where is it rising in the West? Where is it setting? They are asking for a change. We're not asking for a change. Should we say more? Should we say more on the 10th anniversary of Shaykh Maulana that he stood up when they asked him? 20 years, Ramazan, going to the UK, yes, to London to spend the last 10 nights of Ramazan with the murids all over the world, yes? And they asked him at customs, and there's a well-known riwayat. What is your purpose in visiting the UK? He says, to bring down batil. Now, so many are afraid to say bring down batil. So many are even afraid to say batil. They say, it's okay. Don't worry. Can't change anything. Be happy. Can't even say it. And they say, don't say. No need to think. No need to even ask. You must accept everything. Be Sufi. Accept everything. Yani, everything that, how can we not accept everything is coming from Allah? But when our Grand Shaykh, when our Prophet stands up for haqq, we cannot even pray for haqq to bring down the batil. We cannot do that. Something very wrong, something very corrupt. And this has nothing to do with how much Arabic you know, how much Quran you swallow, how many sleepless nights you go through going up and down. It is not affecting your heart. The religion didn't get past your throat. Doesn't matter how many maqams you visit. When you are still believing and loving the people who are open tyrants. There's a warning for us. One of our brothers asked yesterday, how can we avoid this? We see all these things happening. We are growing. How can we avoid this? When we see Jamaats, Tariqats, and they get off this way, on the Siratul Mustaqim. This is what we're doing. We're understanding what those diseases are. We're not sitting and having just being paranoid and say, oh, I fear it's going to happen to me. Oh, all these ones that they are leaving, oh, astaghfirullah, I don't know. I fear it's going to happen to me. Who are we if they do that? That kind of a talk is very immature, stupid. Because nobody sits here and says, oh, I fear diabetes. I fear lung cancer. But you're not doing anything, but you're just fearing. You make sure that you're not in the way of getting those diseases, physical diseases, yes? And when the signs are showing that you have those physical, you work against it, yes? You at least go to a doctor, you take something. You don't just sit down and say, I don't know where this is coming from. I have no desire to look how it's happening. I just fear that, inshallah, it's not going to happen to me. Who are we? Oh. You work. This is a struggle that we have to do. You work. Then when you see these things happening, this is how it's happening, then you make sure that it has no place in our heart. You want to say something? Say.
So there's still hope that everything will come back to normal?
Everything will... No, not normal. There's no normal.
Will improve? Will it improve?
Things will improve. Of course. Things will improve. Things will improve. When we look and we understand what is coming from the awliya, what is coming from the prophets, this improvement that is going to come will come. There's good, it is going to, there is hope. Okay? But it's not improvement or hope according to Ahli Jahannam, vision, or Ahli Dunya vision, or Ahli Dajjal vision. It is according to Ahli Haq vision, completely different. That's why you change also, you say normal. It's not normal, because this is not normal. The system now, it hasn't been normal since, let's say, the fall of the Khilafat. It's not normal. And if people just want to be normal as it was before the Gaza strike, before 9/11, the normal, before Vietnam, before that, that's not normal. That's still Jahannam, because you're living in the time of Dajjal. The hope and the goodness is when the Khilafat is restored. And this corruption and the corruptors and the zalims, they're removed from this world. The heads, and any body that attaches itself to the head, they have to be removed. And part of our dua is all this corruption is also removed from our hearts. And you see it's being removed. We're not the ones removing them. It's being removed. Because nothing belongs to us. This dergah, this masjid, this dergah, this body, this way, it doesn't belong to us. It belongs to the owner. And they are going to sustain it. They are going to clean it. They are going to remove it. We do what we're supposed to do. And when it's necessary, you'll see. Even a strong limb that is producing, but it becomes rotten, it will fall off. You understand? Because the tree itself is not going to. The one who is the planter, the gardener, the sustainer, is not going to tolerate it. Yeah, you produce fruits before. Yes, good. You were strong, good. But now you stop producing. You become weak, become rotten. They will not let it to infect the whole tree. And if it's necessary, they cut off every limb. So everything is shaved down to its very essential. It may look like it's a miskin thing. And people do that. Gardeners, they do that. In the winter time, they do that. In the fall time, they do that. They cut everything back. It looks as if it's nothing there. It's dead. And people say, it's finished. It's finished. They're finished. They're finished. Okay. I don't listen to you. Who are you? You're not my boss. I never listen to you. You have nothing that you can say to me. I have my own boss, alhamdulillah. I listen to him good. I'm very scared of him. Nothing there, but look to see. Springtime comes, everything, whoop, coming up fresh again. Our responsibility is to make sure that we don't rot. We're not corrupt. That's how it is. Inshallah. If we know what our condition is, we must look at our condition and we say we want to improve. Ya Rabbi, please change our condition. We want our condition to get better because it's bad. Because we are bad. We want to become better. Then we're asking. And that time, the gardener will do it for us. Bismillah. So the last days. As you like, inshallah. Understand, Ashok? Yeah? ومن الله توفيق الفاتحة. Give everything there, inshallah. Yeah, the tea. Make sense? Yes. This is the world. The world is work. The world is toil. What makes us think that we have faith, we don't need to work? What makes us think that we're in tariqat, we don't need to work? What makes us think that now that we have a sheikh, we don't need to work? There's more than work. This is struggle. What makes us think we don't struggle? You don't struggle. You don't struggle in the way of Allah, they let you struggle in very low base things. You struggle. Okay, you don't have to struggle in this way, huh? Then we're going to let you struggle with low level things. You're going to struggle. You're going to worry. You're going to stress out over low level things. Inshallah, may it become better.